Hi everyone, and this is Sam from Booredatwork.com, and today we're taking a look at Windows Phone 8X by HTC. Now this device is a flagship Windows Phone device being currently sold by HTC on the T-mobile network. Now let's go ahead and just take a look at the features on the phone. First of all, just taking a look at the front of the phone, you have a 4.3 inch display on here with which is a Super LCD 2 touchscreen. You have your 2.1 megapixel front-facing camera. You have speaker. You have this Windows Phone buttons down here. So this is the back button, the actual Windows Home button, and a search button. These are all basically touch buttons rather than tactile buttons, and I guess these come all standard on all Windows Phone devices. Now let's take a look at the left side of the phone. The left side of the phone basically has no buttons or connections whatsoever. The top side of the phone itself actually has a 3.5mm jack. This looks to be a mic, and it has your sleep/on and off button. So your sleep-wake button /on/off button. Now, so on the left side of the phone, I think I should get this a little closer now. This little hole down here should be the ejector switch for what is your SIM card slot, and this is your volume rocker, your volume up and down rocker. Going further down on the right side of the phone, you have a dedicated camera button. I'll just show you how that works. So I hold down on that and it automatically launches the camera, and I can take a really cool picture on the device. Now I'm going to turn this off, or should I put this to sleep. And on the rear of the phone, you have a mic as well as a mini USB connector. Now, let's look at the rear of the phone. The rear of the phone has an 8 megapixel camera with an LED flash. It has your HTC logo here, which is a little raised. You can actually feel that when you touch it, and it has the Beats logo. Yes, this phone, like many other HTC phones, does have does have Beats, and Beats is what it is on your phone. It seems to be the new sound, or should I say audio standards when it comes to HTC devices. Now, you might not notice this through the video, but the back of the phone is quite rubberized. It really gives the phone a really nice grip. It makes it feel as though this is not going to slip from your hand. It's a very slick looking phone. However, that rubberized back makes that slick phone a little bit more solid, or should I say a little bit more stable in your hands. Now, let's go ahead and give you a little bit of the dimensions on this phone. Now, weight-wise, you have about 4.58 ounces, which is 130 grams for this device. Now, the thickness of this device is actually less than an inch, half an inch thick, which is, it should be about 0.39 inches on this device. So we'll go to the width of the phone. So the width of the phone is actually about 2.8 inches, and the height of the phone is about 5.2 inches. So you have 5.2 by 2.5 and about 0.39. So this is a very sleek, very slim device that I think you'll be happy just to hold and have around you. And you probably get a lot of comments if people see you with a phone. They might not realize how slick a Windows phone can actually be. Now, this is not to take away from other Windows phones, but when I look at the design of the Windows phone, I'm actually more pleased with this than I am with the Lumia, because I just feel as though this is what sleek should look like. The Nokia phones, the Nokia Windows phones tend to me to be a little bit more on the bulky side. Now, let's go straight into the phone. The use and feel of the phone. Just using this phone for the last week or so, it's really, it really dawns on you how very quick this device is. It's a very, very quick device. It's the processor on this is actually I believe a 1.5 gigahertz Tegra 2, if I'm not mistaken, and the amount of RAM on this is so it's a 1.5 dual core CPU, the Qualcomm Snapdragon, and the memory on this is about 1 gigabytes of RAM with 16 gigabytes of internal memory and approximately 12 gigabytes of usable storage. So the device itself is the processor itself is powerful enough to give you a really smooth a really smooth experience with the phone. Now, just let's go ahead and launch a device, launch an app here. I'm going to launch let's see, I'm going to launch the Xbox app, and you should see how smooth that is right there. It's up, and you're just sliding through each pane. It's really amazing how slick and how responsive the device is. Now, a few items that might actually take away from the phone itself is this, right? First of all, you could tell right here, right at the top of the phone, I believe this has been left for your notifications, right? Now, I wouldn't mind, I don't mind having a notification at the top. However, if I do have a notification, it shouldn't be too difficult, to then, shift the screen down and show the notification on the top. Right now, it looks as though the screen, like this whole part of the screen, almost the top quarter of the screen is being dedicated to, to just black space. However, when you scroll up, you start noticing that there is there's somewhat of a cushion here where the screen actually begins over here. So there's maybe like, half an inch of the phone, or half an inch of screen space that's actually not being used on a regular basis. And I think that's really just poor design on HTC's part. Now, additionally, when you look at the apps for this phone, and you go to the HTC dedicated, basically the HTC created apps, you have maybe a total of 6 apps that come with this device. And some of these apps are apps that you're probably never going to use. Most of these apps are apps you're never going to use. Now, it would be really great if HTC could come out with, a standard set of apps on its Windows Phone devices that actually, set a standard that are actually must have for HTC Windows phones, that set it apart. On Android, HTC does have the Sense UI, and that seems to really have a lot of fan followership, and it would be nice if they could create something similar but with apps on the Windows Phone device. Now, T-Mobile on its end doesn't get away scot-free now. T-Mobile is offering a 4G phone that's not LTE. It would really be amazing if you're going to launch your premier LTE or HTC LTE phone to kind of have it on the LTE network. I'm sorry, if you're going to launch your premier HTC Windows Phone, it would be really nice to have it on a 4G LTE network. And I think T-Mobile kind of dropped the ball on that one. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Microsoft and what Microsoft needs to do to make all Windows phones a lot better. Now, what Microsoft needs to do is actually continue to build on, developers, or continue to give incentives to developers to actually continue developing for their device. It's just, I feel as though there are some apps on here that are really amazing, and it's great to have some apps that you're used to seeing in the iOS ecosystem and your Android ecosystem, but not all those apps translate into the Windows Phone world. And what Windows Phone needs to do is actually make sure that these guys who create this, what have almost become standard apps for your smartphone, are actually creating for your Windows Phone and have their apps available for Windows Phone before it launches. And Microsoft really needs to, lock in on getting those almost standard apps, or those standard must-have apps on their device pre-launch. Now, all in all, like I've said, the use and feel of the phone is amazing. I have no complaints to how responsive the phone is, and I'm really impressed with how HTC has designed this phone. HTC continues to do a good job when it comes to design and just solid overall build quality of their devices, and I'm pretty impressed with this. Now, this is the HTC Windows Phone 8X on the T-Mobile network, built by HTC. Now, this has been Sam for Booredatwork.com. Enjoy your entertainment.